I know you've probably been seeing the same things I have on YouTube over the past few weeks, and a lot of the content creators are definitely creating specifically for this, is that you will see a lot of folks talking about stockpiling up and build your stock pantry and, you know, go to Walmart for $50 or $100 and buy this. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that because there's a lot of people who have different reasons for doing what they do in those videos, and I figured I might as well share my input on it because I have a feeling sometimes when you say you're a self-sufficient channel and you're working towards that goal, sometimes it can be taken as being an extremist or a prepper. And I wouldn't technically consider myself that. Paul sometimes will think kind of in that catastrophic mindset in some ways, but I'm not really like that. When I sit down to plan out my pantry and buying in bulk and making certain that I'm stocked up on things, my reasoning is a little bit different, and it doesn't have anything to do with inflation. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with catastrophic events, hurricanes, floods, tornadoes, anything of that sort. It's nothing to do with nuclear war. My reason is probably quite boring, but I'm gonna share it, and I'm gonna take you into my pantry so you can see the things that I like to buy to ensure that I'm stocked up on pretty often. And so my biggest reason is that I want to ensure that if anything were to happen to myself or to Paul's livelihood, such as our jobs, that we would be okay in our means of living for at least a few months or up to a year if need be. And you hear the stories of people going to food pantries, which they are a great and wonderful asset to have. I don't want to put myself in a position to where that is the only ways and means of my existence. And I want to ensure that if something did happen and Paul and I were laid off, or one of us was laid off, that we would have the ways and means to be able to survive and cut down substantially, which would be food costs outside of our mortgage. So that is something that I'm working on, and stocking up on things, and not necessarily, I don't want to say hoarding things, like I'm not just going to the store and saying, oh, there's a box of rice and roni for 50 cents, I'm gonna get it. No, I'm getting things that I know that we're going to use, we're going to eat, makes a little bit more sense, is not just ultra processed junk crap. Like I want to ensure that what I have are healthy ingredients, things that can keep me focused on self-sufficiency. So when it comes time to, I have land, I have the means to either grow my own wheat, to grow my own veggies, process my own fruits that I have. You know, I want a wholesome living life. I don't want a life full of just crap and surviving off of big corporations and making them a profit. The reason why I'm doing this is just because I want to ensure that we are secure. And that is part of self-sufficiency, right? You want to essentially ensure that you are self-sufficient and you rely on nobody. I know I mentioned it before if you watched one of my other Frugal videos, which I'll put down in the description. There was a point in time where Paul and I were both laid off, and we were at the mercy of using food banks, of using a church, of using our family, and sometimes, and you know, we were very grateful and thankful for that help, but it also kind of instilled in us that whole self-sufficiency mindset of learning to do things on our own, of learning where do things really come from, how do you grow things, what's the most inexpensive way to get things that you need. And so that's kind of what's triggered that mindset and with us for all these years. So yeah, that's my spiel, I guess. And so let me take you around my pantry to show you the things that I kind of keep in stock. First up is the items that I keep out in my day-to-day kitchen. These are stored in large mason jars, so I've got things like beans, rice, pasta, oats. I keep chocolate chips for baking or just adding something sweet. I have my canisters, and these are indeed used for what they say: tea, coffee, sugar, and all-purpose flour for baking. This is my main pantry in the kitchen that I use out during the week. So I've got a lot of like canned fishes, canned meats, beans, corn, things of that sort. And this pantry is just my sauces, condiments, things of that sort on that side. And then on the right is my baking things that I keep in stock so I can easily grab them when I need to. And then this is the main extra storage pantry where a lot of our extra things will go. One of my methods I like to use is that if something is empty, I'm flipping it over. That way it's a visual cue for next time that I need to pick something up while I'm out. So that blue Tupperware canister that you see there holds my all-purpose flour extra that I have. So I try to buy that in larger size bags. That way I can refill my canister out there that I use in the kitchen. Over here I have some oatmeal, some oats. So I could use this for flour, grinding it up into flour if I absolutely had to, or just eating it for breakfast or whatever. Underneath there in that brown package, I have whole wheat flour that I picked up to start sourdough, but unfortunately I changed my mind on that whole process and I just have it as a backup. In my pink canister, I use that for my extra sugar holding, and as you see, like I even have a little bit of excess in the bag up above, so I've got to get through some of that. And then once my main canister out there in the kitchen is empty, then that will be replaced with whatever's in that bag or that canister. This next shelf is going to be just bulk canned goods of whatever I just cannot fit into my pantry out there in the kitchen. So as you can see, I've got a lot of extra diced tomatoes. I've got canned fish, chicken, chickpeas, pumpkin. We buy honey in bulk and keep it. Here's the applesauce that I canned recently, so I've got quite a few jars of that if need be. I've got a big thing of chicken bouillon because I figured out recently that I do actually go through this quite often, so I figured I'd go ahead and just pick up a bulk thing at Costco. I've got some green beans on hand. There's some of the jams that I ended up canning not too long ago. I buy this pasta sauce in bulk from Costco. It's really great. We use it on pizzas, pasta, whatever you can think of. Even if I have recipes that are that need tomato sauce, this is an awesome alternative to use for that. Down here I've got large containers of apple cider vinegar. Paul likes to cook with this ghee, so he picked himself up a jar of that. I've got a large container of olive oil back there, some tortillas, some onions, potatoes, and down here is some bottles of Topo Chico. I know a lot of people are probably wondering, why would you pay a bunch of money for glass bottled items? But as you'll see in one of our videos, if it hasn't posted already, we're going to be actually using those glass bottles. So there's a purpose why we pay a little bit extra for items and brands that utilize glass bottles and glass jars. Next to that, we've got some Ritz crackers. Paul uses them. I use them occasionally. I've got some non-fat dried milk. That way I can make gravy mixes and store them if I really wanted to. And so moving on to my actual bulk stock items that I keep in stock. So this is the bread flour that I purchased from Costco. In my neck of the woods, I think it's under, I don't remember. I know it's under $20 at least. And so anyways, I'll buy this huge 25-pound bag. it goes into this bucket. So as you can see, my bucket is completely refilled and I've got just a little bit of this to go through. My canister that is out in my main kitchen area is not used for bread flour. It is used for all-purpose flour. I keep a bread flour on stock just purely for baking breads, and yes, there is a difference. In case you're not aware, you can't really use this in all-purpose flour goods and baking goods. It makes everything very gummy, so a little bit of a difference there. This bottom bucket has white rice. So again, I buy a huge 25-pound bag, put it into these 5-gallon food grade buckets. Back there in the far back behind this, and that bucket is pinto beans. So again, picked up a 25-pound bag for like, I think $19, $20, and so that's all in there, and it gets stocked up out in my main kitchen area when I need to. This prepared bucket is a survival food bucket. So they sell these at Costco and online. Get some Diet Dr. Pepper down there for guests, and also Paul and I will drink that occasionally from time to time. This little tinier bucket is something that needs to be restocked. This is actually what I store chocolate chips in. So that one needs to be restocked, so I'll flip it upside down to give me a cue next time I'm at Costco and I'm inventorying my stuff to make sure I get some more. Looking at my door here is where I stock a lot of my spices, and so I've got just very basic onion powder, garlic powder, black pepper, it goes into my grinder, sea salt that goes into my grinder, and then I've got a bunch of Ziplocs. That's just one that had to be thrown here because I had no other space for it. And here's just other spices I just didn't have room for. My pectin for canning. I've got some extra taco seasonings if I need them. Some chia seeds I've had for about 100 years now at this point. Jiffy mixes for corn muffin mix. Paul really likes those. He enjoys cornbread, things like that. Not so much, but it's here in case we ever want it. And then yellow cornmeal. So you can use cornmeal for a lot of things. Again, cornbread, Johnny cakes. You can make your own cornflakes with cornmeal. If you didn't know that, you can make your own cereal. So yeah, so it's good to have just a little bit of that on hand. And then I've got some spare beans here that I just didn't have anywhere to put, and they're not my bulk stuff. So I've got just some limas and some red kidneys that I picked up a long time ago. So yeah, that's my small, humble little pantry tour. Again, a lot of it is based on being able to cook things from scratch as needed. At the end of the day, I think the best way to sum it up is I want to live how my great-grandparents lived, or maybe how your grandparents lived, or your mom and dad lived, if you're watching this channel and you're a little bit older. But anyways, that's what I want to do. I want to get back to the basics, and so that, means I need to keep basic things around here at the house. And I do plan on incorporating more things to get to that goal of self-sufficiency, self-sustainability, such as having chickens for eggs. And we're not going to go the dairy route, unfortunately. That's one thing I don't think we're going to do. But I mean, there's other things like growing our garden and preserving more things. So there's a lot of things that we can do. This is just my input. Take it or leave it, whatever you want of it. But I just wanted to share this with you in case somebody finds it useful. But anyways, that's my video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.